I've had this ECM Synchronika version 2 for around 8 weeks now, and I'm still quite satisfied with it. It's a dual boiler E61 machine that is solidly made, looks good, and it heats up fast. It's ready to make coffee in less than 5 minutes. I did promise to revisit the optional flow control device in hopes that it might perform better than the one I installed on a Profitec 600, also a dual boiler E61 machine, about 2.5 years ago. The machine was great, but the flow accessory didn't impress me, and I ended up removing it and restoring the stock configuration after a few months. So I bought the current ECM flow control kit, and I'm about to take it apart and see how it might differ from the old one, if in fact it does, and then install it. This is going to be one of those fun videos, so let's get on with it. Oh my God.
It's like a miracle.
Let's begin by looking at the differences between the kit components and the standard parts they replace. The mushroom valve controls the flow of brewing water. When you lift the lever, two things happen at once. You switch on the pump, causing the system pressure to rise and forcing water up through these holes into this little chamber at the very top, down through the small brass jet, or gicleur, and down through the inside of the valve. Of course, the water can't flow if it has nowhere to go, so the other thing that happens is the valve below the mushroom opens, letting water flow into the middle chamber, the one with the cam that's attached to the group head. And then it goes through the small passages in the group head, which is the only path the water can take to the coffee. Scale buildup in this area can be a problem, so once in a while have a look. You can always use a drill bit with a pin vise to clean these passages, being careful to use the same or slightly smaller diameters. I find it convenient to use drill shanks as a poor man's pin gauge. Here we can see that the stock jet is 0.7 millimeters in diameter, and the 4 pinholes are 1.6 millimeters. The stock mushroom valve and gicleur give me an unimpeded flow rate of 10 milliliters per second. Inside the replacement mushroom valve, we find an adjustable pin valve. The jet here is 1.5 millimeters in diameter, although the 4 holes in the mushroom valve are the same at 1.6. I did some measuring and timing and found that a half-turn adjustment corresponds with a 2 milliliter per second change. You can orient and index this however you please. I've chosen to set my low limit, where the handle naturally stops, at 6 milliliters per second. I see no point in having a flow rate any slower than that, but you can set this to suit yourself. A half turn open from there yields around 8 milliliters per second, and a whole turn yields around 10. It's actually pretty predictable. I got 12 milliliters a second from 1.5 turns. Personally, I see no point in going beyond 12 milliliters per second, so this is a pretty good adjustment range for me. That's unimpeded flow, mind. When you have a coffee puck in the way, those numbers are of course going to change. Below the middle chamber, we have a pre-infusion chamber, which automatically performs a brief mechanical pre-infusion. I normally perform my own manual pre-infusion on top of that. The stock spring holding the pre-infusion valve shut is gentle enough that water pressure above 2 bar will overcome it, forcing the valve open and diverting water into the chamber. The system stays at around 2 bar until the chamber is full, after which time the pressure increases. The exhaust valve at the very bottom has a much stiffer spring. It stays shut and has to be opened by the operator manually using the lever and cam. With this kit, I received a new stiff spring for the pre-infusion chamber valve, which will keep it shut so that its automatic behavior won't interfere with my operation of the flow adjustment. Water will not be diverted into the chamber unless I use the cam to open it manually. Now that the pre-infusion chamber is closed by default, manual pre-infusion requires me to hold the brew lever, or it might tip down far enough to open the valve and fill the chamber. Here, I'll show you using a blank. If I let the lever fall to its natural detent point, it will push the valve open, and you can see that the pressure falls when that happens until the chamber is full. Of course, I could fill the chamber intentionally, but I wouldn't really be accomplishing anything useful to brewing. However, after making coffee, when I want to clean up, I might fill this chamber a few times to rinse it with hot water. Anyway, let's look at a shot. I'm going to keep it simple. I start using the minimal opening, 6 milliliters per second, which will take a while to fill. I'll get to 9 bar or so and release it there. The pressure falls very slowly. I might give it a little more water. I want at least 2 bar of pressure over the puck at all times so that nothing I'm doing can disturb it. I'll pre-infuse until I get 2 milliliters out. That way I know the coffee is properly wet. If you just time it, how do you know the puck is fully saturated? That said, this gadget would make a bit more sense if I were simply to raise the lever and take advantage of the machine's programmable timed pre-infusion feature. I wouldn't have to hold this and worry about bumping the valve. On the other hand, if you start different shots with the flow control valve in different positions, you will likely want to adjust the pre-infusion timer settings, meaning you would have to go into the menu. I find it's more convenient just to work the lever by hand, really. Okay, so that's 2 milliliters out, and I'll re-engage the pump and open the valve to around the 10 milliliter per second position. This is my version of the old Slayer shot, which I happen to like. I find the action a little smoother and more predictable than before, although it can feel rough at times. And the metal gets hot, so it's not 100%, but I think they either made some subtle improvements, or the one I got a couple of years ago was defective in some way. Or maybe my expectations are more in line with reality these days. I still feel that this gadget just isn't for me. I had a Lelite Bianca for a year or so, and it had a flow control device that I preferred to this one, but still I rarely used it. The stock behavior suits my approach. The automatic pre-infusion is like a gentle start to my longer manual one. So once again, I'm going to remove this and restore the stock parts. So will I ever learn? Perhaps not. I like the idea of flow adjustment, so I am a natural sucker for it. I haven't seen it implemented well except in strictly manual devices where it's not integrated so much as baked in from the start. I'd say that if you like tinkering with shot mechanics, you'll probably enjoy having this. If you just want a nice cup of coffee, manual pre-infusion works perfectly on any E61 machine, whether dual boiler or heat exchanger, and regardless of the pump type or the means of supplying water. Don't let anyone tell you different. Well, that's all for today. Up next, someone sent me a coffee accessory that I wasn't expecting, and I'm going to test it and demonstrate it on camera. That will be a very short one, I suspect. I'll probably not focus on this machine per se until my 6-month progress report, by which time I might have a minor snag list to share. I have a few more coffee videos in mind as well, so keep in touch. Cheers!